Rowdy. All right. Turn my music down a little bit. Okay, we left in a pretty good spot. I really like where we left this mini game. Let's see. Household hijinks. Rinky dink. Just to recap, we are making a mini game where a bunch of kids are playing a giant air hockey game with a giant puck and lots of bounciness, and they're got opposite goals and they're trying to get it into each other's goals. We are in a very temporary art stage right now, using assets that we already have in the game. We built the goal frame and the net, but we do not have the right textures or anything. I'm just using a curtain texture, and they'll be colored based on the team color. You know, it'll be a red goal and a blue goal. And I thought today we'd probably wouldn't spend too much time in Blender. We've been in Blender a lot and just doing simple stuff in Unreal Engine. And we might do some more gameplay and I guess mainly tech art today. So this will be more of like a tech art stream. I'm kind of excited to get into it. We're going to upgrade the look and feel of some of the interactions. Some of the next steps I want to do would be updating the puck to be like an actual object, and give it some life, some like bounce reactions. I've got a fun method for that. And maybe the goals, give them some bounce, some reactions too. Have them register when the puck goes in there, and have a little bit of a reaction, VFX, and also reaction in the cloth. And give some life to the cloth with some like vertex animation. So I think we're going to start with the puck, because I had a fun idea to how to make the puck kind of like on theme. Right now things in the surrounding are a little rough. You know, we just have that green grid in the background. But, yeah, let's start with the puck. Usually listen to 1950s music. I am doing some more modern jazz. Some Kamasi Washington and Alice Coltrane. Kind of keep me a little bit more active and while not being stressful. Alright. Wow, our camera's crazy. Let's do 90. Alright, so I think we're going to start with the puck. And I thought it would be cool if the puck was actually a tire. Like a tire rolling around, because that would make sense given how bouncy it is. So we're going to replace this. And the thing is, the nice thing is I already have a tire mesh here in the game. And it's textured. So I think I'm going to use that. It looks pretty cool too. It's in style. So yeah, let's try that. Let's drop this in here. Oh my. It's kind of the right size too, to be honest. We'll make it a little bit smaller. The cylinder, yeah, we're gonna have to... What we're gonna do is replace it this way. Tire. And let's replace the scale and the texture. Hell yeah. And let's make this a little bit smaller. It has no collision. That could be a problem. Okay. So then let's add collision. It's also a little too big, I think. Maybe a little bigger. Point, oh, 0.7. Yeah, big is good. Okay, let's add some collision to it. That cylinder collision was honestly nice. The cylinder collision, the collision of like the default cylinder, actually a cylinder? I wonder. Player collision. It is actually cylinder, son of a bitch. Okay. Oops. So maybe... But there's no primitive... let's just use sphere collision. Why not? Should we do that or should we do a capsule? I think we have to do it on this guy itself. I think is what we're gonna have to do. We want to do a capsule. Let's start with the capsule. It's rotated wrong. Yep. Then let's go into the... I wish there was just a cylinder collision, but I get it. Okay. We're going to go into collision. We've got capsule. Now I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know if I want this crazy of a collision on this tire. I don't know if I want that. Let's see if maybe I can do it at the... Let's see. How's this guy coming in? Tire. Okay. Okay. Lobby, clubhouse, asset pack. Alright, let's actually add collision to it ourselves. That's the best way. Environment, lobby, clubhouse, blender, clubhouse, asset pack. We're going to re-export this with its own custom collision mesh, which I was getting into yesterday a little bit. Oh. We got the tire. Ha 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 ha. Alright, so let's add a cylinder. Why is it over? What the? Why is it asset pack way over there? Oh, my 3D cursor is in a weird place. Yes, my 3D cursor is in a weird place. Alright, so the cylinder and the tire, that's what we want. There we go. It's a little oblong of a shape, so it's no big deal. It's got some weirdness to it. Shade, smooth by angle. Alright, so we're going to call this UCX tire. That should do everything we need. Put that in our output folder. Replace the tire with both of those selected. Asset pack, tire, selected objects. And I might have to re-import the objects a different way, so let's see. Import collision. Import settings. There's import settings, mesh. One convex per hole per UCX. Okay, so let's try re-import base mesh. tire. Alright, so we should have collision now. That is the collision that... Let's see if we show... player collision. Look at that! There's our collision. So that UCX mesh came in as the box's collision. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And then collision complexity is project default. Perfect. Customized collision on. I love it. Complex collision mesh. Whatever. Okay, so now our player collision... Nice. Cool. I think that looks pretty cool. It's like really like fits with the junkyard kind of aesthetic, I think. The spinning's kind of fun as well. Wonder if I can change the spinning amount, just make it spin less with angular velocity. Angular dampening. See if I turn this up to 1. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, there's a lot more friction on the spin. So it doesn't spin as much. It'll spin, but it'll stop more. It'll stop spinning faster. So if I put angular dampening like 50, I bet this will like either not spin or... Yeah, look at that. It's like really not spinning at all. I love how much it floats. That's the air hockey thing I like, where it's like it can slowly float into the goal. I guess that's hockey too, but cool. I think linear dampening, angular dampening 1 was nice because it's still spun, but it like stops itself. It doesn't go out of control. It was at 0, so it just like wouldn't stop. This is pretty fun. I like the look. A tire. Okay. Makes sense. Gives it that bounce. Okay. Next, we're going to do something fun in order to make it look like it's bouncing around when it gets hit. We can do this 2 ways. We can do it... I see if I scale this. Let me see what happens if I scale this player collision. Yeah, it's going to do that. See, we don't want to actually scale it. I want it to look like it's bouncing. We might have to do this with vertex animation. This is kind of tricky. Let's see. What is in our base material here? Do we have access to vertex offset here? World position offset. No, we have no world position offset stuff. And I don't want to put that in the master material, to be honest. So maybe I do a little something with... the animation. But I wonder if that'll cause problems. We're going to do it, and then we'll use a dummy mesh visually. If it does cause a problem, we'll use a dummy visual mesh. So, for now... Actually, that is what I'm going to do. So this guy, let's just say he's hidden in game. Or visibility, he's not visible at all. But it should still be the player collision there, right. So, we'll call this our physics tire. And you are visible tire. Oh! I think I landed on it was the problem. We're gonna have to fix that. It's kind of funny, but... Alright, so we got a visible tire and we have the physics tire. And really what we should do is, for the physics tire, I'm just gonna make this... cylinder, like we had before. Haha, sorry. So I'm kind of going back and forth. You have simulate physics off. Oh, right. I see what I did there. It's kind of right. Obviously, because the physics of this visible tire is so big, or the physics tire is tall, it's gonna... Let's go back to visible. You put this on the ground. Oh, yeah. That's fine. Put this on the ground plane. Like that. And then visible tire, you go back down there. That should be right. Yeah. Okay, so now we're working. So now we have two meshes. One is this collision mesh that we're going to make invisible. And that will be the collision of this blueprint. Just a cylinder. So it's kind of like the work I did with the tires collision in Blender is we're not using, but it is useful to have, and it's good to see how that's made. So now we have a collision mesh right here. And then we'll make that invisible. And then beneath it, parented to it, is the visible tire, which is visible, but simulate physics is off. So it's not simulating physics, but the invisible collision tire is. So the reason I want to do that is because I'm going to make an effect for every time this puck is hit. I'm going to make like a squash and stretch, like reaction effect. Oops. And that will affect the collision. If I do that all in one mesh, and this is the collision mesh, it's going to affect the collision. The collision's going to scale and go crazy, and that might create some like unexpected results. So I'm just going to make a mesh that you don't actually interact with, that's the visual representation of the tire, that we can modify its scale and all that. So in the event graph, okay, so now we get the tick, which is the velocity clamping that we set up earlier. We're making a custom event here. And this is tire hit effects. And we're going to add a timeline. Squash and stretch. You don't actually have to name it, but we're going to play this from start. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so what we want a simple, let's make it half a second to start. We want a simple squash and stretch action reaction. So what we're going to do is make up, out, in, out. Right, so we're going to go, oops, maybe one here, and then ending here. So the last one will be 0.5 and 0, this timeline node. This one we want to be like here, and then like that, I think is right. So this one will make a value of 1. This one will make a value of negative 0.5, because it's going to, and this is going to be quick to start, then slower. And let's add, come on now, auto. We want this to happen quick. And these can be a little like that. This one should flatten out before it hits there. So look, we're probably going to tweak this once we see what it looks like. Because animating purely off of, curves without seeing it is, it's very blind. Squash and stretch. Alright, so we're going to take the visible tire, set scale, set relative scale 3D, so it's scale based on the scale of the actor it's parented to. On update, we're going to let's see, so we want to lerp. Always plugs it in the wrong one. First, let's lerp the... Interesting. Actually, so we don't want to lerp Z. We'll keep Z at 1. But we're going to lerp X and Y separately between 1 and 1.5. It's going to be dramatic. And then the opposite. Right. We want to do a different track that's kind of the opposite of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we know that we want this to be 0.5. Oops. 0. We want this to be 0, and this to be 0.5 and 0. This guy is value time 0.97. Let's get the times all right first. And then this time is 0.35. So we're going to get these times lined up. We're going to make an inverse. This guy's a value of negative 0.4. We're going to make you a value of positive 0.4. And once I make this, I might realize that there's actually a more simple way to this. Value of that. We're going to make a negative value. Make that negative. So it's like an inverse version of that. This out. That is flat. You are also flat, and you are good. I just flatten those a little bit too. So now we have inverse controls here, or inverse animations. The same thing. And it'll make sense what's happening. Okay. First, and we need to do some hit detection. So, on component hit. Yeah, that's what we want. Let's just make sure that's what we want. Oh, God. Oh, it's constantly hitting. We want it to ignore the floor. That's... I guess that's what we want. Or, like, look for specific channels here. I guess we want to look for specific channels. Let's see. Or we can add tags. We can filter by tag too. There's a couple ways to do this. There's a couple ways to do this. So basically it's constantly reading hit because it's being hit by the floor constantly. But we want to read if it's being hit by other things, I guess. For now, we can do it just because we're going to have a collision detection on just the puck hit. And the walls. That's really what I want. Is it like hitting the walls or the puck? So start with the puck hit because that'll be a little bit stronger. So we can do that. Let's go into our... We'll filter by tag. Is going to be the easiest way. And on this guy right here, we're going to add a tag, component tag. This is going to call it stick, I guess. Alright, so I keep calling it a puck, but it's a hockey stick. So we want to know when it's a stick. So, like, hit component has tag, component has tag, stick. Let's just test this. I'm going to print string, and if it's true, it'll print true. Actually, no. It's doing too much too fast. So what we want to do is branch. It's printing all the falses as well. So branch, if it's true, then print string. So now it's only going to print if true. Hit stick. Hopefully this works. It's not working. Other component. Maybe that's it. Hit stick. Alright, it's a hit stick. Alright, it's other component. Alright. It's doing multiple hits, though, which isn't great. That's not gonna look great. But we'll be able to, account for that. Okay. Hit stick. So let's do tire hit effects. We're going to call this function right here, and let's see what happens. Holy cow. Why? First of all, this guy needs to be right here. Now, why is it doing that? Oh, first of all, it needs to not have collision. Duh. We need to turn collision off on that guy. Custom. Custom. Nothing. No collision. Trying to overlap this. No. No. Nothing. Do not use CCD. This does. Alright, that's going to help us a bit. It's still, obviously, it's not resetting to its state that it should be. So it goes from 1 to 1.5, and these both end back at 0. These both end back at 0, which I don't understand. See, if these both end back at 0, why would that be? Oh. Now it makes sense. Because I'm setting its scale, its default scale to 1, but its default scale isn't 1, it's this. So this is its starting scale, and then let's have that go to 0.75. So, okay. Oh, whoops, yeah, duh. So you kind of see what I'm going for. It's not right yet. It gets too oblonged. And it's not fast enough. Alright, so this should be like 0.6. I want to do something cheeky and just say like set play rate of our squash and stretch. Set play rate. We're gonna just do this as opposed to remaking the whole thing. Twice the speed. Yeah, that's good. I think we needed some of that. 0.75. Let's go back and see with the faster speed if that looks better. It's kind of funny. But I wonder if it should just do this like... Okay, so let's look what happens if we don't do these separately and we have them both doing the same thing. And we want it to go bigger... maybe smaller first. So let's see if we plug these both into there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, just the... I think it needs the offset. The offset looks better, for sure. It gets a little too oblonged. I think these shouldn't be perfectly offset. I think the problem is that this guy should be here, this guy should be there. there, and there. It's kind of funny. Kind of good. It's got a little bit of a juicy bounce to it, which I like. I think it actually needs a little bit more, like if we extended this to 1, which is too long, but I'll modify it with the playback speed. Time 1. Time 1. Kind of do something even like that. .3, negative 0.35, 0.35, and then you are at 0.5. Okay, 0.5 is good. Yeah, negative 0.5. You should be at 1. You should be at negative 1. Now, why is this one? Yeah, you need a little bit more curve there. Flatten that out a little bit. Maybe get these like a little more crisscross, I think would be good. A little bit more crisscrossed. I think it's pretty fun. What do we think? It feels pretty, like, satisfying to hit. Ah, yeah, that's great. I like it. So here, we're going to make this a little bit more dynamic, based on how intense it's getting hit. So... on begin play, get relative scale 3D. Okay. And let's make a new float here. Let's see if we can make it, force it. Tire scale. This is a float. Split struct pen. So we're gonna define our tire scale, so I don't have to keep typing it. We're just gonna grab one of these because they're all the same number. So we're setting the tire scale. That way I don't have to manually type it in here. That's a little bad behavior. So alright, so whatever I set the tire scale to here, just visually, that's what the number it's going to use. And then what we want to do is normal impulse. That will be just a direction. So let's break hit result. Let's see what the normal impulse value is. Is it if it's just a 0 to 1? No. It's actually pretty variable. Nice. Right, okay. So let's actually, what we should do is get the vector length, just a vector length. So we'll get like just a single float value as to like its intensity of the hit. Right, nice. So the stronger we hit it, the bigger that number is. Let's like, what's the range we're getting here? What's like one of our bigger numbers? It's like 35K. It's like the biggest I saw. Range min, we're going to say is 20. And then 30,000. Let's see what sort of float value 0 to 1 we get from that. Okay. That's like a half hit. Okay. Got up to... Oh, wow. Got... Because it was like glitching and shit. That makes sense. Okay, got put to 0.7 there. 0.9. Okay, didn't feel like it. Okay. Yeah, we can make this number a little bit like just like 40,000. So this is going to be, we're remapping the range of the vector length, or we're remapping the range of how strong this tire is being hit, and outputting it as a 0 to 1 value. And I think we are going to clamp that value as well. Between 0 and 1. Because we don't want it to go crazy. Okay. And based on that... based on that, we will create... I'm just thinking of other things, sorry. This is hit intensity. Hit intensity. And we're going to store that. And hit intensity, we're going to do another lerp. We actually don't need that. So we have hit intensity, which is defined before launching this. Hit intensity. Gonna lerp. Again, go in here. Based on that 0 to 1 value, 0 is going to be the weakest hit. We're going to multiply tire scale by either 1 or... so it's like 1.5, let's say. Tire scale multiplied by this value. Nice. Actually, we only have to do that once. It's the same thing. All right, so based on how strong this number is, this value will go between 1 at its weakest, which means it'll just be the hit intensity, and then 1.5. So we're multiplying tire scale a variable amount based on how strong the hit is. So let's see how that looks. Soft hit doesn't move much. Yeah, see, it doesn't animate much, but I slam it. It's hard to slam it here, but as opposed to just being like the full intensity every time. So I kind of like carrying it there. There, you see it got a little bit stronger. What I think I need to do is modify this max value back to 20,000, so it just, we'll see the stronger hits more often. Yeah, there we go. So if I'm just like softly hitting it, doesn't do much, but if I really smack it like that, you'll see it reacts more. So it just looks like it's reacting more to the strength of the hit. It's hard because of the controls I have right now. It's hard to really like control how hard I hit it. But we're gonna do the same thing with the walls. I'm gonna add. I can change this. Oh yeah, component as tag. What we want to change this tag to something that describes it more. So everything that has a tag, it will bounce react to. We call that tire bounce. I think is the best I can think of. So first we're gonna change the tag we added to this guy. Change that to tire bounce, and we will also add tire bounce to the actor tags here. Although I may, oh yeah, I may need to do it on the component. I may do the component tag because it's looking for component. Because it's other actor. I see. So let's just... Only on the stick. I see. Not in the walls, because that is not a component it's colliding with. It's... But it is, though. Other component. What's the component you are colliding with? Static mesh component. Rink walls collision. So it is the collision of the static mesh. Component tags. Yeah, that's, I mean, that is a component. That should be working. I guess we're going to have to add something for other component and other actor. Okay. Actor has tag. So we're looking for actors or components with the tag. Or, so if it's an actor or a component with a tag. And let's just be safe. And still doesn't seem to be doing it. I think. Let's see right here. Let's see if this is working. Nope, it's not detecting that. Now, why would that be? Okay. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Okay. All right. Do you know what happened? We are not colliding with this wall at all. We're colliding with the wall collision. That's why. We're colliding with this collision mesh that I made. Oh, silly me. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Tire bounce on the rink wall's collision. It might not work right away, but that's definitely what's happening. Yeah, look at that. It's reading a hit already. And look, it's bouncing when it hits the... That was it. Oh, man. Sometimes that's just it. Sometimes you just don't realize how silly simple it is. Look at that. It's bouncing off the walls based on its speed. Isn't that fun? I think that's great. I love it. Oh, I shouldn't be able to do that. That hasn't happened in a while. I should not be able to do that. Oh, I think it looks awesome. I really like it. Yeah, so those small bounces, it does almost nothing, but when it gets like a large enough bounce, it does some reaction. Really cool. Looks great. I can add a... we don't need to add bounces in there, too. Oh, man. I just want to do that again because it's so fun. The tire is like really fitting. I'm tooting my own horn here, but I think the tire is really, really fitting. So the process between me and the dev is I come up with this first version. First version being like just like the block out and like kind of some of the core mechanics and some of the core art, and then he goes through and makes sure that he programs all the gameplay and he adds like all the stuff that actually makes it work, including taking a lot of these things I do, which everything I make works fine single player, but over a network a lot of this stuff isn't really communicated and replicated from server to client to server, or client to server to client again. So even these like people might not actually see the location of the puck. Or they definitely wouldn't have a shared location of the puck, unfortunately. So I might have to change its actor type, but they definitely wouldn't see the bouncing happening at the same time, because this would just be running locally. But I gotta say, it looks so good that I just want to keep doing it. I kind of want to keep going. It's hard to stop because there's just so much more I want to do. But I don't want to do too much. I should do simple collision detection in the net. I can do that at least. So let me get rid of this print string. I'm gonna do a little bit of garbage collection on that. Let me get into this. I will add another collision here. Box collision. Put it back here because we want it to be that when the tire's kind of like fully in, then it counts as a point. Scoring collision. Oh yeah, we'll do some simple stuff here. Okay, so let's do scoring collision. On begin overlap. other actor is equal to puck. So we want to say that if it is the same class as this puck class, we're going to say, we're going to branch here, and we're going to say score. Didn't work. That happens, you know? That just happens. Alright. Scoring collision. Let's see. Overlap all. Generate overlap events. Yes. Other actor. Let's do this first. What is the other actor? Rinky Dink Puck. Yeah, I mean... Rinky Dink Puck. Yeah, Rinky Dink Puck. That's it. We're gonna make this... Alright, let's make this pink so we know it's happening there. It's equal to... Huh. Oh. That might be getting a display name. What is this? Object reference? Okay, so like, let's say get class. Get class is equal... I think this is what we have to do. Okay. Rinky Dink. I think that's what we have to do. I'm so confident I'm not even going to test that. I'm just going to say it works. Get rid of that. Yeah, score. Nice. You see that little print string at the top? I should make this window bigger because, I mean... There's such little traffic on my streams that I just, like, ignore my chat windows, but I feel like after 10 minutes I'll look and be like, oh, that's right. I have chat window, but no one's typing. Cool. And we don't have much gameplay, so I'm not going to do stuff like trap the puck and respawn it somewhere. I could, but it's not going to go here. It's going to go in a different, like, game mode or something. Or something. But what we can do is spawn system at location. Confetti, and then we want the location to be at its self location, default scene root, get world location, so just the root of this actor itself, auto destroy, auto activate, and I have a bunch of preset stylized effects that I've made. This one's pretty fun. It's just a confetti explosion. And that's very easy to make. I will definitely, I hope to get into creating some custom Niagara systems. Maybe even the type that we make for Rowdy Rascals, which have a bit more of an involved process. But I'll make some simple ones too. I really love Unreal Engine's Niagara particle system. Just this whole environment is really versatile. You can kind of do whatever you want. Oh, we will be making some for this, because I'm going to make the crowd with it. I'm going to make the cheering crowd that reacts when you score with that. I'll do that next time, because that's going to be a bit more involved. It's actually going to be a very simple particle system, but we'll hook it up to the blueprint and have it react when a score happens. So, all right. This should be simple enough. Oh, yay! Look at that. I even have the confetti stick to the ground, which I kind of like. Should I have it come out of the bottom of the goal or like the top of the goal? Where should it come out of? I can have 2. Kind of makes sense. Maybe like some fireworky things. Maybe I should make some fun fireworks too. That'd be probably kind of cool. I'm going to add an arrow. Put one here. And I just use these as locators. And one here. Negative 95 and 95. Let's make them pointing upwards. That doesn't matter because we're not going to see them. So we have 2. These are the locators. I'm going to try having them spawn at those. We can spawn 2. I could do this with a loop, but it's just the same thing. It's whatever, you know. Just up a little bit more. So we have 1 spawning at each arrow's world location. What do you think of that instead? Yeah, I think I like that better. How do you feel like how far it has to go in for that to happen? Maybe it should be a little bit deeper. How deep does the tire need to be before it scores? Let's test it out. So many points. I think it needs to be a little bit deeper. The collision for when the tire is like red as you scored. So let's see. That's scoring collision. A little bit deeper. Little bit deeper. Because I want it to like actually feel like it's in there. Yeah. Like it's gone in the goal. Like we don't want it to just be like touching the goal like that. There. It's like gone fully in. Boom. 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 I'm like, this is what happens when you are developing a game. You get like so good at the bad controls you make. Like you end up just like getting really good at just the horrible controls you start out with. And then you play it with someone else for the first time. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do anything. And you're just like a pro at this broken stuff you've been doing over and over again for weeks. And I always think about that when I play a new game. It's like, oh man, it's so hard to jump from here to here to here. And I know the people, if there's like some crazy jump course, I know the people that made the game were just like casually doing it, like without thinking, because they've been doing it over and over again from the start at every iteration. This is really fun. This is fun. Okay. I think just to keep things short and sweet, what are we at time-wise? How long has the stream been? An hour? I'm always hitting an hour. That's why, I mean, I've been doing a lot of these. It's just, I'm always excited to come back because I feel like I never did enough. An hour isn't enough. There's so much more I want to do. But I want to make sure I do it on stream. And I don't want to make too long of streams, so. An hour. An hour sounds good. I might be back on in tomorrow or in a couple days. We'll see. Hopefully tomorrow. Thanks.